Hey, how you doing? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to another time here. Welcome to another time of the book club. What we got to do on Sunday afternoons, we study through a book, discuss it, and see how we can bless ourselves from it. We've been reading through a book, The Good Life. That's what we've been on. It's our sixth book in the series. And we're presently in chapter 8 of it. So today it's going to be our last reading in chapter 8, Family Matters. We're talking about the importance of family in the place of relationship. That's what we've been looking at. The whole book itself is just talking about how to have a good life. And the conclusion of the book is that the way to have a good life is by having the uh, relationship in the right facets of our life and having the right quality of relationship in those facets. So we talked about relationship in different areas of our lives. Today we're going to close out talking about in terms of family unit. Next week we'll talk about relationship in the workplace. That's what we're going to look at next week. So we're talking about a good life, and again, it's a book. It's written by Robert Waldinger and Marc Schulz. They used to be the lead at the Center for Adult Development at the Harvard School, and all they do there, the study involves just looking at adult development and trying to look for what makes for the right adult development. What's the optimum? How does someone develop as an adult in an optimum fashion that you can qualify, such as having lived a good life in terms of living long and well, right? It's not just the length, but it's the well, the quality of the life, having a quality life and having a long quality life. And like I said, this is a study that's been going on for more than 85 years. And the conclusion is that it's relationship. It's also having the right relationship, you know, the important facets of our lives, and also having the quality of those relationships make a difference in us enjoying being here. Now, remember that general saying where we're spirit beings here to have a human experience. To have a right human experience, we need relationship in our life. We need the quality of relationship in different facets of our life. And here in chapter 8, we're looking at the family life, having a good relationship in the interplay of our family setup. And family is not just blood, it's the different units where we can call family also, even though the real focus here is in the blood family. But we can look at family from different angles in terms of associations that we come to belong to, all right? So, so pretty much we're going to be able to close out on chapter 8 today. It's our third time around. We've had two previous readings into this chapter, and this is going to be our closing of the chapter. We have Toba come along. Toba, how are you doing?
I'm good. Good afternoon, sir.
Good
And
afternoon.
yeah,
Yes, good. Hey, good to have you here. Our
thank
service.
fine, thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So as I was saying, we're going to try and close out chapter 8 today. And chapter 8 just talks about family. It just says that family matters, and family can be pretty much basically by blood association, but that's not all that is family. Family is also by decision, by selection. The Bible, that famous part of the Bible talks about that God himself puts the solitude into families. So that tells you that God is interested in people being a part of a family unit. That's God's idea, God's ideal for someone to grow. None of us has been created to live on our own. to thrive on our own. We need other people to make us whole. Is our place in Ecclesiastes who says two is better than one. When one falls, the other person can pull the other person up. When one is cold, the other person can warm that person up. It talks about a tree. It talks about others put out a three chord, is difficult to break, which we typically will give example in a broom. One stick of broom we can easily break, but when you have to try to break the whole bunch, it's about impossible to break. So we're stronger together. Not just alone. Alone, our deficiencies, can do us in, but together we're stronger. We'll see that also when we see our predators, coming in to chase after a herd. They don't go for the ones in front, they go for the ones at the back, and they go for the ones that are weakest. If those that are weakest stay in the middle of the herd, and if everyone is watchful and defending each other, those predators cannot have sway. Irrespective of which herd it is, if everybody pulls together, the predator cannot have place. But predators get to pick one out, that stays away from the group, so therefore then that person is then exposed to be exploited. So the way God has made it is put us into families, so that our weaknesses can be supported by the strength of other people. And it's the same thing, the human body. Paul was writing about the body, and he's saying that if the small things, the things that looks weak, probably the things that are most important in the body. So the body grows by that. To each joint supplies. There's something that each person can supply or needs to supply that makes the body whole. And makes the body work and thrive as a unit. Enough of all of that. But this quote we've used to run through the chapter is this one by Jane. It says, call it a clan, call it a network, call it a tribe, call it a family, whatever you call it, wherever you are, you need one. We all need a family, whether it be our blood family or some other unit. Like again, the Bible says God puts the solitude in family. God's preference is that is our blood unit that becomes our original family from which we get our fundamental growth. But for several reasons, that probably doesn't work sometimes, but that's not the end of the world. Just like in marriage, we form new family setup that has no bearing on blood. It's a decision. You decide to marry someone, then you become a family, not by blood, but by choice, by selection. In the same way, individuals can select new people, new units, that can then become a family. It could be a church that you join, it could be a club that you join, it could be an alumni that you join, it could be a school that you join, it could be whatever. But the key thing is that you join a place where you have a sense of belonging, where you are contributing to and others are contributing to you, right? Like we gotta say, the definition of a healthy relationship is one which people come together because of what they can give, not what they can receive. But what keeps them together is what they receive, not what they give. That's the essence of a family. Essence of a family is not to go and drain people, but to go and contribute. But as you contribute, also others contribute to you and make you whole. But we all need it. We cannot grow to the optimum, of what God will, where God will have us be, if we don't belong to some family or the other. That's the other place also scripture talks about that. Do not forsake the assembly of one another. It says, do not forsake the family units that you belong to, because we need it, just like, again, someone will give an example, when you have that wood fire, If you take away just one stick away from the whole, the flame will die. But when the wood is together, the fire gets more red, it gets more hot because each wood is supporting each other to keep that warmth, and together the fire is burning brightly. But if you separate the wood from one another, the fire will go down, right? You see, that fire stays because when we stay together, we help one another. Again, like Paul will say, the body grows by that which each joint supplies. Nobody's whole on its own. We all have our strengths, our weaknesses, our deficiencies, and when we are together, then we can support one another. We can help one another. When one person is in need, the other person is able to support, provide a shoulder. But that person's providing a shoulder tomorrow might be the one that needs a shoulder tomorrow, and someone else can support that person also, you know. But when we come together as family, we get to influence one another, and that influence comes by, so the book talks about nature and nurture, hereditary and environment, parenting and peers are all tightly woven together, and all have served to mold each of us into the adult we have today, right? We are who we have because of either nature, those things that we were born with, those things that we grew with. So those things that we got passed on, from our parents or the people we grew our parents, or just the unit we belong to, the environment we grew in, our parenting, the people we grew with or we moved with, you know. And the other thing about talking about this is, it's when you see someone, a child, sometimes you have good parents and the child is not, the child goes wayward. Just the importance of this again is the fact that it's not just parenting that makes a child. It takes more than just parenting to mold a child. It takes more than, just what you say to a child that molds a child. It's also the environment the child is, what your child is exposed to. So it's all that combination that it takes to get the perfect or the right person, or bring up a child, that is able to have roots, that to have wings, to live his or our own life, So it's the nature itself, is how you nurture the person, the things that come through maybe by blood. But all of this, none of them, none of them stands on their own. One can affect the other. If one is negative, if you can use another side to correct whatever is negative, a child can have tendencies that might be hereditary, but by the right parenting, you can correct that seeming hereditary part in the child, like they would say people like from my own town are people that are stubborn, right? But I can't use that as an excuse, right? You can train a child such that even the seeming tendency of that child you can correct. You can help that child see the reason why being stubborn could get that child into trouble, right? By the right parenting, you can take away that seeming nature in that child, such that child is not defined by where that child comes from, right? Are we together?
Yes, sorry, I unmute.
Oh, all
Sorry.
right, great, great.
So that there won't be external. Yes, I'm with you.
Oh, great, great, great. So there are ways by which, we can, work on, because not all of us have the right uh origin or influence in our lives. based on where we come from. Some people grew in negative environment, and then you want to correct those negative into positive. Some people grew in positive environment, but they get exposed some negative things which could take away, their background. But we can walk on, the kind of influence, we have in our lives, and make it such that we set ourselves up to succeed. Like I shared last week, in at some point in my life, I just felt I wasn't set up to succeed because there were things in my life that were not working. For one, I was a shy person. I grew up a shy person, and that limited some things I could do. That limited my ability to make presentations. That limited my ability to stand up in some fora where I needed to stand up. That limited my ability to communicate. That limited my ability to make friends in some places. So I have to work on those parts of my life, which were limitations to all the things I wanted to do or I needed to do to be able to win in the marketplace, to be able to win in life. So even part of that involved me resigning from being a pastor, right? Because as a pastor, then I realized that in church, I was like a champion in church. I could do a lot of things in church, but I didn't see that, being produced in the workplace. I didn't see the equality or the translation of my spiritual life, in my physical life. And I felt I needed to work on me, so more than 2 decades ago, I did step aside from active pastoring, just to work on me. I'm glad and I'm happy with the person I've become, in doing that. I'm proud of who I've come to be in that process. But it took me working on myself, to become who I am today. So the book talks about some things we can do to ensure that we have some positive influence in our lives. And it says, first of all, is that we can tune into the difficult feelings rather than ignoring them. There are things in our lives that uh we that would think we're struggling with, rather than ignoring them, we can face them. I know over the weekend I did put in a post, and I said that the things you are scared of, the things you run away from, you give power to, right? The things you embrace, you're able to conquer, you're able to overcome. If there's any area of your life that it's not amounting to where it should be, or you're struggling with, it's not something to run away from. It's something to address. Like for me, like I said, it'd be a nightmare for me to stand in front of a crowd and make a presentation. But today I can do that. I can do that with little or no qualms. I mean, it's not my natural disposition, but I've grown myself that I can do that. I've learned the secret of being able to do that, by practice and by understanding what it takes to do that. One of the secret to being, my nature is not the nature that likes to be in public, right? It's not one that would stand in public. I can make noise in private when I'm with the people I'm comfortable with. In a big crowd, I'm probably not that one that wants to be the center of attraction in a big crowd. My energy will run out because I don't renew my energy in a crowd. I renew my energy in solitude, right? So I can only get engaged with so many people before my energy runs out. But however, I have to be able to have enough energy to do whatever it is that I need to do, especially when it comes to the marketplace, a business sector, or something in the workplace, that I've had to learn how to do. And one of the things you do is to be good at what you are doing and to focus on what you have to give, not what people want to have to say about what you want to do or not. But you can focus on areas of your life and overcome those areas. You know, I've uh, I've come from a place where it's difficult for me to meet new people, especially the opposite sex, and get engaged in some discussion. Uh, but I've overcome that. Today I can easily do that. But it's come by learning, it's come by practice. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Is there any area of your life you've had to work on to overcome?
Mm, well, not really. I can just say like the family matters that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, hey.
Okay, so like the family matters that we've been talking about. In fact, it was even last week I wanted to ask that, but there was no chance again. The issue of family being I don't know. I wanted to quote, but I might not be able to quote exactly now. There is this statement that okay, we are a family, not because not because we have the good works or we have the good deeds, but because we accept one another. But what I'm trying to bring out is the issue of acceptance of each member of the family. Now, it's sometimes the issues that, this action or this attitude, or maybe it has become an habit. It's not good. This is a family member coming up from a family member. And now, this is not right, but you have accepted it. So my concern is, how do we work on issues like that or areas like that when we have a member of a family which we have no choice than to accept, but yet we know that there are actually things that it pissed somebody off in, and it's becoming an habit, or it's more or less like this is this person, so let's just leave him, or do we just fold hands and just let it be and keep. I don't know whether you get the
I get
the
what you're
issue
trying
of.
to say. I get what you're trying to say. So, you know, so Paul would say it this way, says to everyone I stoop myself low so that I can win that person, right?
Okay.
He says to the Romans, I became like Romans, right? So it's when it comes, you cannot change anybody, especially when the person, even my three kids right now, I cannot change, right? Uh, you can maybe change people when they're still very young and they cannot reason. But when people start to reason, you can't change them. All you can do is influence them, help them see what is right, right? They have to be the ones to make a choice as to whether they want to do the right or wrong, right? My three kids now, all of them above 21. I cannot make them do what they don't want to. Even when they were less than that, my students are just as stubborn. My children are just as stubborn as I am. If they make up their mind that they don't want to do anything, they will not do it all. I, I mean, I can cane them and force them, but inside their hearts, they are not doing it, irrespective of what they are doing on the outside, right? So it's not as much as forcing them, it's as much as helping them to see why, right? And for an adult, you cannot. I mean, I can't change my wife. My wife is just as stubborn as I have, right? She set up her mind to do something, you know, and it's even difficult for me, especially as a counselor, as a teacher. I'm careful. I tell my wife she's an endangered species. You know why? Because I might know what is right, but I can't tell her because
Mm,
I'm in between two places whereby if I tell her, she might think I'm saying it because of what I'm going to benefit from it. So I'm really careful the way I talk to her. It's easier for me to talk to someone else, but than to talk to her because she might take my words for granted. She might just, you know, she knows me such that she probably sometimes can't see the anointing, So but the key thing is in a family setup, right? All you can do is help the person see what is right. All you can do is tell and leave it, exemplify it. But my children are who they are because of who they see me live, right? They see me. So more than what anything I can tell my children is what they see in me and they like and they see it working and thereby it influences their life, right? Uh,
mhm,
so like for instance, I'm in my secondary school group, it's not a Christian group. So not everybody's a Christian. There are people that do things that are crazy, right? That things that are unchristian. They know where I stand, right? But I cannot be because of me then stop them from being who they don't want to be, right? They respect me for who I am, but it's also up to me to respect them for who they are. They are, you get what I'm trying to say? They are, hello, are you
I'm
following
with
me?
you.
All
Yes,
right.
yes.
They are adults, right? I believe in heaven. I tell them about heaven, but they could choose to believe heaven or not believe heaven. I can't force it on them, right? And what brings us
Mm,
together is not the heaven. What brings us together is because we went to the same secondary school, right? So I focus on the things that bring us together while not losing who I am. I
mm,
also expose myself too much to the things that will corrupt me, right? I live the life of who I am while focusing on what brings us together, right? I don't necessarily focus too much on the things that don't bring us together because that's not the reason why we're gathered together. But in focusing on the things that bring us together, they know and they see who I am. So it's up to them to be whoever they don't choose to become is a decision they have to make. I don't know if I'm making any.
yes, 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 yeah.
Yeah. When I lived in California, I attended a Calvinist church, right? Which is also they also call them the Reformed theology, right? I don't believe in all the Calvinist tenets, right? A lot of Puritans that I believe in and love are, are Calvinistic in tendency, all right? You know who a Calvinist is? I've heard of Reformed theology.
Yes, the John Calvin
Yeah,
followers. Yeah, I know them.
yeah, yes, yes. I mean, John Calvin, I love him. And there are things that he says that I follow, right? I love John Calvin. But John Calvin didn't get everything correct. There are some,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
right? I love Charles Spurgeon. I follow a lot of things that he said, but it wasn't 100% correct. There were some things that he had wrong. I love Charles, what's his name? Charles
Wesley.
Stanley.
Okay.
Charles Stanley. I love Charles Stanley. But there were some things that Charles Stanley, because he has a communist tendency also that he did not get correct, right? I love Charles Wesley also, right? I love people, but I'm not going to be an idol to anyone. The Bible remains my standard, right? I love Kumuyi also, right? But
Mm.
I'm not going to follow Kumuyi to the detriment of what I believe the Bible is saying. So there will be places where we disagree. Do you understand?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Places where we disagree. But when I come in a place of fellowship with Kumuyi, when I come to a place of fellowship with Charles Stanley, when I come to a fellowship with John Calvin, right? I focus on where we agree, not where we don't agree.
Mm.
Focus on the Bible that binds us together. We're able to fellowship as long as we focus on the Bible that binds us together. If we ever spend our time focusing on the places where we disagree, we cannot have fellowship. But if we focus on what brings us together, Jesus Christ, then we can have fellowship. We can leave the way places where we disagree to everybody. You can go your own way. That's what you believe, fine. You get. So when I
Yes.
lived in California, the church I went to is a Calvinist church, and I enjoyed fellowship. Awesome. Because for as long as we focus on the Bible, we have no problem. I don't know if I'm. So
Yes,
when
yes,
you
yes.
have people that have things that, or things that are doing things that are way off, you're going to tell them. They need to know where you stand. Your stand must be clear, but you don't densely then walk with them in a judgmental place whereby they cannot breathe.
Mm.
It's a live and let live. It's a decision they have to make. Christianity is not there by force. Sometimes we force people into the kingdom, and that's why we have a lot of sinners in the church who have no clue who Jesus Christ is, right? Christianity is a conviction. You have to know why you do what you are doing. You must meet Jesus Christ to be a Christian. You are not a Christian because your father is a Christian or your mother is a Christian. It's because you believed in Jesus Christ. It's because you know why you believe. We must help people to get to that place of conviction and not force them into Christianity, because you're not a Christian until you believe. It's right. So I can have fellowship with anybody. It's a matter of what are we focusing on. I have a lot of Muslim friends and we have good fellowship, right? They know who I am. They know who I believe. You see me on Facebook, it's not unclear what I believe. What I believe is clear. That does not mean I
Mm.
can associate with you that does not believe what I believe. I can associate with you. We'll just focus on what brings us together. But I have to be careful that I don't spend time with you on the things that don't bring us together. My focus must be on the things that bring us together, where we agree, where there's an overlap. Because if I focus on the things that don't bring us together, it will influence me. It might influence me negatively. So I have to be careful I don't spend my time on that. You get what I'm trying to say?
Valid point. Yes, yes, sir. Perfect.
I cannot, if someone wants to be is an adulterer, then I'm going to spend time with him in the hotel with girls all around. Then I'm looking for trouble myself now. You get, but away from the
Yeah.
hotel, we are both sitting down somewhere where just to get ourselves. No problem. We are human beings, so there's something that we can discuss that just the mere fact that we're human beings, we can relate, right? Because
Mm.
so it's about focusing on what brings you together, and be careful that you don't expose yourself to the things that can corrupt you. But then you have to be strong on who you are, because who you are is what is sending out a message. Did I answer your question?
Yes, yes, perfectly. Perfectly. Thanks.
All right, great, great. So the other thing is, as we relate with other people, we need to notice when we're having experience that are more than we expect. You know, so it's as we relate in family setup. You need to you need to listen to your body. You need to listen to what's going on the inside of you. And you need to, I mean, you need to respect and work on it. And the example I will give is just like we just spoke right now on all of this. Um, we all have different strengths, different tendencies. As much as I say that you don't run away um, from things, you also have to be careful, right? I remember one time, um, as I finished school in college, there's some relationship I was pursuing, right? But that relationship never really manifested or or get on its way because somehow the person I was chasing always said no. Person wanted to be my friend, but didn't want to define things, and even in defining things, wasn't really open. You know, I can't say our friendship really got on the way because this was someone that was seemingly it wasn't open. The person wasn't open. It wasn't a free flow. Even though I wanted more, but even the ordinary friendship level wasn't a free flow, and that really had a big impact on my self-esteem. Right? I didn't know what was going on at that point in time, but when I broke from it, um, and I broke from it like 27 years ago now. When I broke from it, I saw my self-esteem as really being battered. I had to spend years to work on my self-esteem coming out from that. Um, but I said all of that to say this. When I finished my NYC, there was a lady um, whose parents died. She had a motor accident, when she was 7. And, I'd been there, helped through, went for the burial, all of that stuff. And this one time she came to visit me in the house, but I wasn't used to it, right? I wasn't used to getting someone come to visit me. I'm used to a male coming to visit me, but for a female coming to visit me, it was something I wasn't used to. My emotions were not used to it. I was not used to entertaining a female. I don't know if I'm making a sense. Do you
Yeah, yeah.
understand? I mean, to a male, I can entertain, we can talk, but it was a female coming to visit me, right? The person I was pursuing never visited me. So I didn't know what it looked like, the emotions that come when a female comes to visit you. And I mean, I do go to visit female, though. There were a lot of people that I went to visit. But I'm talking about if someone coming to visit me, it was a different experience altogether. And I'm sure she was embarrassed because I didn't just know how to comport myself, all of that. I didn't do anything wrong. It was just that I was very uncomfortable, right? Give me 1 second. Let me open it up. Hello. Are you with
Yeah,
me? All right.
yeah.
But you see, that was embarrassing for me, but today is different. I've had to work on that, that part, because the emotions are flowing inside of us. And part of growing up is ability to know those emotions and know how to um, put them in their place, right? There are different things that flow when you have not done something before, especially when it has to do with the opposite sex, you know? So the emotions that flow, which you must master,
Mm.
right? Master, know how to win, or know how to win in the midst of that emotion. right? So it's that place, and some of those things come by practice, by practice. You know, a lot of things. I'm a different person today than I grew up. I remember in secondary school. I when it's joking, I can joke a lot. When it comes to, it's different from joking and when you not have to do things in reality. You know, like I say, I grew up as a shy person. There was a lady that was in my same church. When I'm with the boys and we joke, no problem. And she went to Antioch, I went to Greg's. So they came to do inter-house sports in our compound, in our school, but it, having to just, and she was pretty nice. I mean, she was beautiful, but she was nice also. I mean, she greeted me and wanted to relate as someone she knew. But I wasn't used to the emotions that was flowing, at that point in time, being alone with someone, and she was beautiful. There were a lot of people that would love to talk with her, but she didn't come to talk to me because I was chasing her. It was just because we go to the same church, right? And she was just being nice, you know. But it was something I wasn't used to at that point in time, right? I was uncomfortable, it was awkward, right? But that's where I come from. But today, I've had to learn to be comfortable in such environment and be able to, know the emotions that flow in those environment and be able to live above them. But some of those come by practice. Some of those come by, knowing what they are, giving them the right label and knowing how to, you know, uh, stay above them. And different people do it differently. I know I was talking to some old man who is late now, and he was talking about that when he sees beautiful ladies, he looks for what is not beautiful about them. That's the way he manages his emotions. He looks for something that is not perfect, and he focuses on that. So probably different men do have different ways they manage their emotion in the in the presence of those emotions that flow. When you are in the presence of beauty. But the important thing is that you master it. I don't know if I'm making sense to you.
Yes,
You
yes.
master it, but I don't think what he said to me was the right one, but I guess it worked for him. You know, he was a pastor, and he's probably one of those. Yeah, it's not a life that I will envy. Because I love people. I love people. I'm not going to be looking for what is wrong about you, because as much as I love people, but at the same time I'm human. Do you understand? You
Yeah.
know, I love people, but at the same time I'm human. So in the presence of a beautiful lady, I have to love that lady without um without crossing the boundary.
Yes, 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 yes.
I have to love without crossing the boundary. At the same time, I don't want to pull that person down. I also don't want to, I want to love that person. I want to love the person
Mhm.
in a way that God will be happy with me.
That's yes.
You get. So
Yes, sir.
it's a fine line. So it's me that needs to be walked on, not the lady. I'm not one of
Mm-hmm.
those wants to make people look dress shabbily so that I would have problem. No, I want to work on my own emotions, not the person. I mean, the person who the person is, it's up to me to be able to be myself.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm having too much emotional issues, that means I have to limit my exposure to that
With the person, yeah.
person. Shake. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I have to limit my exposure, right? So, but but it's all part of learning how to live life. You're learning how to master life, learning how to master relationship, right? So, but you learn this by practice, right? If you are too uncomfortable, you don't want to spend too much time there because you're human. You see, a lot of people that go into sin, they not plan to go into sin, but they began to do things that were beyond their strength. Right? As much as you want to love somebody, you don't want to pull the same person down. You must be sincere with your own self. Right? If it's more too more emotion that you can bear, then reduce your exposure. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's someone I know who has a child after outside wedlock, right? But how did he get the child? I know so when you know see the person, you know that this person is older than thou. It's more like a a holiness disposition. But at the end of the day, he crossed the line because I don't know the full story, but I can tell you he was trying to be nice to this person because they had sent him to this place to start a church, house fellowship, right? And he was being held in a place of a woman that had separated from the husband, right? In the presence of house fellowship, they crossed the line, right? So you need to know yourself. If it means saying I can't be the pastor in that place, so be it. You know, uh, yeah. So if you have any issues, then you need to reduce your exposure. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Perfect.
Yeah, but we can grow. You don't run away from it. You can grow, but while you are growing, respect your strength. Don't do more than you can bear. Right? It's like going to the gym to go and be carrying weights. You don't go and carry 100 kg in one day. You have to start with 10 kg, 20 kg, 30 kg. Maybe someday later you'll be able to carry 100 kg. But the first day you go and carry 100 kg, will kill you. You get.
Yes.
Years ago, I used to be able to do a 50 press ups at a go. But now, for whatever reason, I can't. It used to be pretty easy for me. I just go and do 50 press up. I can even try 100. But now, partly because I've not done it in a long time, partly because I put on more weight. But I'm trying to build back to 50. So now easily when I go there, I can do 20. I can stretch to 25. I can go to 30. I can even go to 35. But I'm not yet there at 40. So I'm building back. I cannot just say one day and just go, I'm going to hurt myself. Right? So as much as I'm building, I have to respect my strength. Same thing goes with my emotional strength. Right? I don't expose myself to more than I can undo. You get?
Yes.
All right. So third, also we can try to catch other people when they are behaving well. So one other way we can close and build family bonds, is it's not just when you catch people when they are doing something bad, you know, it's catching people when they are doing something well. That makes a difference. That makes people, it's called positive reinforcement. If you catch people doing the right thing and you talk about it, they want to do more. It's just human behavior, you know. They want to do more of that. But if all the time you're only catching them when they're doing wrong, they'll give up even trying. If you want your children to do more of the good things, praise them for the good that they do, but you have to manage it also. It has to be natural, right? You also don't want to be deceptive, praising them for what they didn't do, right? But if they are doing something nice, praise them. They want to do more, you know, and it stays in their mind also. When they're away from the house, they also wanted to not do something that, daddy will not be happy with, but positive reinforcement is something we can do that we can draw people to ourselves. I say boldly all the time, and I say it's not a fad, just who I am. I love people, and so I try to do that. I try to do that because it's just what moves my motto, just to make people happy. but it helps to do that. It helps to build relationship, by praising people for the good that they do, seeing the good in people, and if you focus on the good in them, they probably want to do less of the bad. We all need affirmation. It's called affirmation. That's what God means when he says that train up a child in the way he should go. Is affirm the child on the right behavior. Affirm the child on the right behavior. Because as a child, they're asking, is this good or bad? When you affirm that child on the right behavior, and probably that child will seek, because we all want to feel nice, and it feels nice to be acknowledged, right? If you acknowledge the right, the person wants to do more of it. Even as adults, we want that. Not talk about children wanting to do that. You know, so it helps. It helps in building family relationship by focusing on the good, right? Again, like we said earlier on, we don't all agree on everything, but if we want to have fellowship, we need to focus on what brings us together, not what divides us, not what separates us. You know, and that thing is they write in a book. It says finally, most powerful is to simply to remain open to the possibility of people behaving differently than we expect. So I mean, in family setup, it's not putting people in a box. It's like we said earlier on. We're all different, right? We're all different, and we need to respect our differences. And it helps. It helps to open our hearts, to allow people to be different. One thing I tell my wife, she would say it all the time, is that, I mean, we're all adults. I don't force my wife to do anything because we're adults, right? We all have to make our decisions as adults, right? So I respect her opinion, just like I expect her to respect mine also, So we make decisions. And the thing about life is that once you make decision, also you must be ready for the results, right? So if your decision don't work, don't blame anybody for the result. If your decision works, yeah, take the praise. You did made the right decision. You can do more of it. If it didn't work, you learn from it. You know that this you have to do it differently next time. But before God, we're all human beings, right? And to Him, we're going to give account. So I mean, you have to let people be, and don't try to force people into any mold. We're going to give guidance. Hopefully, we'll give guidance based on the experience that we have. But at the same time, none of us knows it all. It's going to be based on what we know at each point in time, and we help each other to grow, right? Same thing I do for my children, I'm praying to God. At the end of the day, it's God that knows where they would be, what would be the right line for them. Mine is to give guidance based on the little I know, right? I give guidance, I help them in whatever way I can, but I'm not forcing them in any particular mode or the other, just trusting God, that at the end of the day, everything will fall together, you know. The Bible says that your children will be taught of the Lord, and great will be your peace, So we're trusting God to do that. But we do our part. That's not a way to give it. That means you do your best based on what you know, and then leave the rest to God. So 3 more steps the book gives about keeping connections in as a family. It says that the first thing is to start with yourself, recognizing another person for who they are and meeting them where they are can go a long way. And this is probably just the same thing we've talked about earlier on. It's allowing people to be, allowing people to be who they are, and meeting them where they are. Yes, there are some things that are given, or there are some things, reference things that are given. You know, there are the laws and principles of life that will not change, right? The Bible will not change, right? But we are all different. The way we do things are different. The way we see things are different, right? And we need to respect each other for who we are, where we are, where we are coming from, without changing the reference points of life. The north will always be the north, the south will always be the south, the west will always be the west, the east will always be the east. I don't know if I made any sense what I just said.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a way Toba does things that is different from the way Akin does things, right? I'm not going to force Toba to do things the way I do it, right? For as long as the fundamentals are the same, right? So we need to meet people where they are and not try to always force them to fit into our own mold, right? For as
Yes.
long we look at people based on the word of God, not based on my experience, right? And that helps. That helps in bringing, in building bonds. So, and also when it comes to family, it's being able to step out, and do things, that would help bind us together, create things that would help bind us together that might be different from a normal routine. I have to do more of that, for my wife, for my children, because everyone needs to know themselves, right? I have my weaknesses. My weakness is that I love spending time with myself, right? It's both a strength and a weakness. A strength because I can get bored. A weakness because you don't build family that way. You build family by spending time together, not on your own. So I have to find a way outside what is natural for me to spend time with my wife, my children, or engage with them one way or the other. If I leave it to just my natural tendency, I will never find time. But because I know it is important, I have to intentionally do it. I have to proactively do it. I have to think about it. I have to find ways to do it. Do you understand what I'm trying to,
Yeah.
you know? And my children know that it's a fault of mine. You know, when I lived, I mean, they know I spend a lot of time on my computer just because that's just daddy's tendency. Not because I love them any less, but I cannot use that as an excuse because the only way to bond together is to spend time together. So even though that's the way I feel, that's my easy place, I cannot use it as an excuse because if those children grow up without me spending time with them, they wouldn't know me. They will get used to not spending time with me not spending time with them. So I have to look for ways other than what seems natural for me to do what is right for me to do because the principles of life will still not change. You're only going to know someone to the extent to which you spend time with that person, irrespective of who you are. Am I making any sense?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So finally, he says here, remember every member of the family has their own store of buried treasure. Key thing is saying that everyone is unique. Everyone part of the family is unique. You can't despise anybody. All my three children are different. They have their own unique tendency. My, you know, my first one is like a mother. She has that mother tendency, take care of everybody. She has her strength, she has her weaknesses. My second one is she has her strength and weaknesses. My third one has her strength and weaknesses. Have to respect each one for who they are. None is less, none is more. My wife has her strength, she has her weaknesses. I have to respect her for who she is. She's not like any other woman. I don't force her to fit into anybody's mold. I have to respect her for who she is. Yeah, well, just as I expect every one of them to respect me for who I am, which is what we said at the beginning also. That's the way you build connection. You have to meet people where they are, and hopefully bless them and help them to become better. But you have to also meet them where they are. You're not going to help them become better if you can't meet them where they are. You have to also meet them where they are before you can help them become better than where they are, right? And that has to be a natural influence because they have to want to be better for them to be better. If they don't want to be and you are trying to force them, it will not work. And you only have friction. May God help us in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Yeah. Did I make any sense there?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so just these three quotes on family, and we'll be shut down here. Because when everything goes to hell, the people will the people will stand by you without flinching. They are your family. And that's the definition of family, right? Whether it's blood or by decision. If people don't stand with you when you are down, they're not family. It doesn't matter whether you have the same blood, no matter how thick that blood is. Family is people that stand with you when everything goes bad, when you've lost everything. If you don't have anybody standing by you when you are not in a position to be a blessing to others, then you don't have a family. It doesn't matter whether it's by blood or anything. Family are people that stand by you. There are not people that stand by you when everything is well. That's up to you to build a family. That's when you build a family, when everything is well with you. The time to know whether you have a family is the time when you are helpless. And that is a result of, it tells you what you did when you had everything. When you have nothing, tells you the result of what you did when you had something. Because when you have something, it's a time to build a family. Again, like we said, a healthy relationship is one you go into because of what you want to give, not what you want to get. So when you have something, your investment there, you'll get it the day life happens to you. If the day life happens to you, there's nobody standing by you, it's because you did not use your investment well. You did not build a family when you could. Because that's when you need a family. You don't need a family when you have everything. You need a family when you don't have anything. But when you don't have anything, it will tell you whether you did well when you had something or not. So you can't even blame the people around you when you don't have anything. You blame yourself because you did not spend time to invest in having a family. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah. So your sowing period is when you have something. You have to go all out and build a family. Be there for people. People will be there for you if you're there for them. Right? There'll be people that come that want to use you. But it's up to you to know the difference between those that want to use you and the ones that you don't want to use you. Sometimes we know, but sometimes we allow ourselves to be used because we are looking for fame. Right? But you need to go out there and bless people. Don't bless the people that can give you something. Bless the people that cannot give you. Those are the most sure ones that probably end up blessing you. But be so, right? And Jesus says it. It says, with earthly mammon, you can make friends unto yourself for eternity. Right? So what you have is to be a blessing. That's what you use to create the family you need when you don't have anything. Right? When money means nothing. Right? The next quote here talks about the sense of family comes from commitment we make to each other to walk through the hard times so that we can enjoy the good ones. It comes from a love that binds us. That's what family is. It's walking through the hard times together. Family is a commitment. It's a commitment to be there for one another, to help one another. And that's what we try to do. I mean, I belong to my secondary school association, I'm the financial secretary. My elementary school, I'm the general secretary. But that's what we're trying to bring together, is that commitment to be a blessing to one another. We're trying to form a family, but it will do that by being a blessing to one another, increase one another, Blood does not make family. Those are relatives. Families are those with whom you share your good, bad, and ugly, and still love one another in the head. Those are the ones you select. It's family is where you can be yourself. You don't try to wear a mask. If you're wearing a mask, then you're not in a family. A family is where you just be yourself. And hopefully you are seeking to grow. You don't be yourself and want to dig a hole for yourself and say, "This is me, I cannot move." Those people, that doesn't help family. Family is be myself, but seeking to grow, seeking to be better, seeking to be influenced. When you have people that are digging the ground, that this is me, I don't care what you all think, this is me. That's not a family also. Because the family grows by that which each joint supplies, right? So if it's a family, then everyone is seeking to grow individually and corporately. That's what makes for a healthy family. It makes for a good relationship. It helps us to have a good life also. All right, that's all I have. Anything you want to add to that as we shut this down?
No, no.
All right, good, good, good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks for spending this time with me.
It's been a lovely time.
Thank you. So we'll go to chapter 9 next week, and that will be talking about relationship in family. In the workplace, sorry. The title is The Good Life at Work. Just talking about having a good relationships at work. So God will help us. All right. Have a good week. Have a great week ahead. God bless you. See you next week.
Amen. And you too. So.
All right. All right. Take care. Yeah. Bye.